I got to turn my video off here. Hey, what's up, Dylan?
How's it going? Thanks for having
Dude,
me.
of course, man. Sorry for going a little long there. It
All good.
was having a couple technical difficulties starting off the day.
Mhm.
It's not
No problem. No
if
problem at all.
it's not technology unless you have a couple of those bad boys.
Of course. Yeah.
Um, well, dude, thank you so much. I was really excited for this conversation.
Mhm.
UConnect is such a cool company. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your company and just kind of like give us a little bit of background.
Sure. So I started in Collegiate Esports back in 2012, which is basically like when the whole ecosystem started. So I was definitely part of that first generation. So I was the founder of Texas A&M Esports. We got to go to Riot. They had a collegiate summit, and I got to meet all these other collegiate leaders, and that's how I kind of established that initial network. Ended up working for a developer, which was under the GameForge publisher. Got my first year of experience in the game industry there, and then I started doing UConnect Esports, which is a sponsorship marketplace that allows brands to activate in hundreds of colleges with their campaigns. That was a whole journey in itself. Being a startup, slept on a lot of couches and a lot of air mattresses and stuff. But yeah, we just launched our platform in August, and we've run a lot of really cool campaigns. We're at 150, tier one universities. Working with HyperX, Cloud9, Twitch, and we have a ton of really exciting brands coming up as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, talk to us a little bit for those unfamiliar at home.
hmm
UConnect does something cool and kind of like gathers all these
hmm
different organizations together. Can you help explain it for people who might not understand kind of one, the kind of segmented nature of collegiate esports right now,
hmm
and then two, how you guys are kind of solving that problem?
Yeah, so right now, obviously college students are a huge demographic. Everybody wants in on it. Um, but right now, like a lot of brands, they kind of do stuff on their own. So like if you wanted to, get a bunch of sponsorships, you have to go pretty much searching the internet for it. You have to jump on if Coursera is doing something, you have to go to Coursera, fill out a long form. If Nvidia is doing something, you have to fill out a long form, and you might not even get that sponsorship. You have to build pitch decks, and a lot of these kids, they do a pretty good job for having no guidance, but a lot of some of it can be a lot of fluff. Some of it they don't pull the right numbers. So there's just not a lot of like streamlined or like standardization in terms of that process. And then on the brand side, if they want to sponsor 100 events, because these are micro events, they're not like 50,000 people. They're like, they can go up to 1,000, but some of them might be 100. If you want to activate 100 different events, you have to deal with 100 different event organizers, and those organizers change every like 1 or 2 years. So it's a lot of moving parts, and we basically put all those campaigns on one platform. All the school's information, they fill it out once. That's it. So they don't have to refill out the same information. Like we eliminate all the grunt work, and then we streamline the whole process. So they can basically pick like 50 universities to sponsor, and all of their information that they need is like right all in one slot, like almost like a marketplace, like I'm buying like some apples or something like that, and then they create the campaign, they send out the support, and then all those post event reports are automated. So all the ROI they get, and everything that they have to do, all the deliverables don't have to be like, oh, this school has to do this and this school has to do this. It's all just like standardized. They can pick which packages and which deliverables each school can do based on their size. So
That's
yeah.
amazing. It's such a needed thing for the collegiate scene.
hmm
Also, uh, here joined by my co-host Maya.
I
We
was
got to
having
give
some tech issues, but
Yeah,
get jumping into the Zoom call. But
no
it
problem.
you guys are
happens. It
holding it down.
happens.
I have the
Yeah.
stream up. You guys are
We
doing
got
great.
it. We got it.
Yeah.
Um, but so, one of the things is I feel like there's kind of the technology side of what you guys are doing, and then
hmm
also the people side of what you guys are doing, helping to
hmm
organize kind of both of those things.
hmm
Can you talk a little bit about the how people sign up, get registered? If I'm a collegiate
hmm
organization, like what's my avenue to get hooked up with you guys?
So we do have minimal requirements. So for the schools that are just starting out, our platform, like they may not be ready for our platform, but we do have a developing organizations program through our Discord. So Dragon Ding leads that. He's from Boston University, but basically they're able to. This is still being launched, by the way, but they're basically able to hit a certain amount of milestones. They get guidance from our regional coordinators, and basically we help them grow their assets, like their social media assets, their events, offer them guidance on marketing, and we help them grow them to a point where they're ready for our platform, because the platform is we do run campaigns on our own on behalf of brands, but a lot of these brands will just do it as self-service. So we want to make sure that the organizations that are hosting events on our platform, like, we have at least some minimal to guarantee that they're going to do pretty decently, when a brand uses our platform, they pretty much, like, I at least know that, like, I'm going to hear back from them, or we're going to get some deliverables back, because a lot of organizations, students have a lot on their plate. So I totally understand. I was a student as well, and when they're juggling email threads, juggling sponsorships, and trying to do the event, sometimes they'll just forget, and then, like, by the time they remember it, it's too late. Like, the social posts are like a month down in terms of social posts. So, like, it's yeah, so we do have some requirements, but we also built a pathway for them to kind of grow their org and be ready.
That's great. So what would you say are a couple of the, like, pitfalls that you see a lot of? You listed off a couple of them, and I think that when you're doing everything, it's hard to be great at everything. But what are some of the kind of, like, just common pitfalls for some people in chat, like, say they're going off to college? Well, maybe not this year, but
Yeah.
they're going virtually to college.
Uh-huh.
What are some of those, like, little things that are kind of I mean, bigger things in the way that they kind of reflect, and how can we kind of avoid some of that?
So, like, the student, like, pitfalls in terms of the students or the student leaders, or
Yeah, the student leaders as they're
Mhm.
organizing their esports
Gotcha.
organizations. Sorry.
So one of the biggest problems is, so I guess one of the biggest problems is like, transitioning. So a lot of these organizations, they can be very reliant on one leader to kind of spearhead everything, and that's great. Like, a lot of the biggest collegiate organizations are there because of one, like super leader, like an ultra carry kind of thing, but like, after they leave, the transition problem, like, one of the biggest problems with brands is that these clubs are very volatile. So, like, once a leader leaves, you're pretty much flipping a coin on whether or not they're still going to do it just as well. And it doesn't matter if you're, like, Ohio State, or if you're UCLA, like, or if you're, a smaller university. Like, they're all just as prone to these. There's small universities that have bigger clubs than some major universities because of their leader. So that's where administration can come in and, like, provide some minimal guarantee, some foundation to help these new leaders join in. But typically transition is, like, a pretty big problem. Deliverables is another one, which is what we were trying to help with. So, like, before, because they're juggling a bunch of sponsorships, I think people don't understand how important deliverables are. Like, just taking photos, it may just seem like a grunt work kind of thing, but, like, these brands, in order to put more resources into collegiate programs, they actually need, like pictures and social media posts and all that stuff all compiled, so they can show them, like, hey, this is what we did. We need more resources to support these great events. But a lot of schools, after they get what they need, they kind of just, like, blow it off a little bit, and that can affect their career too. Because, like, I think a lot of people don't realize how important their history as a collegiate leader is. Like, there's a ton of jobs in esports right now where they specifically ask for someone who is a collegiate leader or has a collegiate experience. It's almost like it's pretty much more important than their classes and their GPA. I can tell you, my first job, they didn't even ask or look at my GPA or my degree or anything. All they looked at was what I accomplished in collegiate. So if you do blow off a brand like that, like, they're gonna remember you. You're building up your own personal brand, your reputation, and that can really hurt you, like, moving forward if you want to work in esports. So definitely, like, I think at all costs, like, protect your personal brand and be seen as someone who's dependable. And yeah, I think those are, like, two really big things. I can keep going if you want me to, but I don't want to take up too much time.
No, that's
Yeah.
great. I think that, that's the deliverables is a huge thing. And one of the things that I've been proud about is, like, Game Gym, we're a small org, probably about the same size as most of these collegiate places. And I make sure to send our sponsors monthly reports with social media, competitors, Twitch, like all of that, couple photos, and those things go a long way. And it's just a touch point. Like, hey, I'm still here, and we're still doing cool stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to add is like one thing I always tell students is always ask for less than you need and then over deliver, because you want to create that reputation of over delivering. Like if they give you just a little bit, you'll just like shoot to the moon for them. But for a lot of these schools, they're like, oh, I just want as much as I can, but like the more they give you, the more responsibility you have to reach like bigger numbers. And I think a lot of them don't realize that. So when they under deliver, the next time they get a sponsorship from anyone, it's going to be like less. They're building up the reputation of not being reliable. So that's another thing that I always tell people.
That's a really good point. Maya, any questions from your side of things?
Well, I'm wondering, so you talked about how like transition from leader to leader is probably one of the biggest pitfalls for these organizations. What are some steps that they can take? They can obviously reach out to you, and like you said, that's something that you help with. But is there anything else? Like one thing that obviously, like I help with operations at Game Gym, and one thing that I keep saying over and over to people is institutional knowledge. I want everything written down, even if it's how to open a door. So, is there anything like that you would recommend that these organizations, like STEPS organizations, can take to really not really go back, like take steps back when they transition, right? So they can keep growing.
Yeah. So one thing that they can do that will also help their career is like use Asana or use some kind of workflow management kind of thing, some project management software. Like you said, I was just about to say establishing those processes just so it's easy to pick up for the next person. Some collegiate leaders, they write like guides on how to do things. That's great. But having that all visible on Asana or something like that is really good as well. Other things that typically work pretty well is shadowing. So when a new leader comes in, the president who's in their senior year should usually go into an advisory role and kind of help them along and like build up that independence so that they can walk them through all the steps. That's super important. One thing that I definitely see is I guess it's kind of like a choke point, and I forgot what I guess they funnel. I forgot what the exact term is, but like everything basically goes through the leader, and if the leader holds too much knowledge or like holds too much control of everything, once they drop, everything falls apart. So establishing those funnels and not making yourself a choke point where like if you don't complete something, then everyone else is held back. Having that, putting more it does require more training, and that requires more time. And I totally understand where college leaders come from when they say like, oh, I don't have time for training, because like at some point, like obviously officers are can sometimes not be too invested, or they may have other things going on, and the leader will just be like, it's faster if I just do this myself. And yes, it is, and that's why a lot of single collegiate leaders are able to carry clubs, because they're just like, I'm just going to do everything myself, screw it. But that does work in the short term. But in the long term, you're basically putting more work on yourself. It's more stress on yourself, and then once you leave, your whole club falls apart. And I know what's really important for these clubs is like legacy. Like I want what I'm working on to like keep on going after I'm gone. And I guess like it's almost like a we'll worry about it later kind of thing, and I think it's an easy way out, and I was definitely really guilty of that during my time as leadership. So it's not an easy solution, but I think as administration comes in, hopefully not to steamroll orgs, but just as a supporting role, we can see more consistency. But I guess those are the big things I see in terms of mediating that volatility.
I think that's good advice. It sounds like you're recommending, essentially putting more trust in people and more time in training others and delegating tasks, so that you're not, a one-person show, but you're actually, creating these departments, even if they may be small, if one or two people that are carrying a specific task. That's a great advice.
Quarterbacks. I mean, leaders should be quarterbacks and cheerleaders, basically.
I dig that. So Dylan, we have a minute or two left. I want to make sure people get your social tags, your website. How can we get in touch with you, man?
Yeah. So the Twitter is Dylan S. Liu. It's really lame. It's just like my first name, my middle initial in my last name, so Dylan S and then LIU. And then you can check us out on uconnectesports.com. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and then the Twitter is at Uconnect Esports. Pretty straightforward stuff. So yeah.
Hey, so if you're going to college, or if you're sitting at home and going to college and you're trying to organize your collegiate esports scene, definitely hit up Uconnect. Definitely hit up Dylan if you're starting that or needing some help. Seems like a really wonderful resource. I wish you the best, man. The collegiate
Awesome.
scene is the Wild West, and
Yeah, sure.
it needs somebody like you to wrangle it together.
Yeah.
So I appreciate
Yeah.
you doing the work, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
No worries. All right, we're going to jump back to Discord, and then we're going to jump back into our next panel in a couple minutes. So Dylan, we'll see you soon, man.
Yep.
Thanks so much.
Bye.